Boom, we're back. But yeah, it's 11:21 p.m. It's pretty late. This is the latest one we shot easy.
Mm.
We're on the grind, bro. On the grind. Yeah, you came here this morning. You literally got here 20 minutes after I woke up.
Yeah, lazy, bro.
I'm not lazy. I just go to sleep late and wake up late because I work late. So,
Fair.
yeah, and you're the opposite. You go to sleep usually, except when you're here with me. You sleep.
Yeah, you ruined my sleep schedule, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a few things to talk about tonight and we're obviously pretty tired
Mm.
and but we're gonna push through and yeah, hopefully have a good pod.
Yeah. Well, let's start with some news. What's the big news you've got to share, boy?
I I'm going on a little trip. I can't talk too much about it because nothing's finalized, but Dubai. I there's a opportunity for me to go play music in Dubai for a while. I don't know how long exactly. It could be a few weeks, could be a few months. Don't know. Um, yeah, I don't really know what the go with that is, but yeah, it should be pretty sick. There's gonna be probably like 12 artists, different artists from across the world, much bigger than myself. It's kind of gonna be cool because I'm the small fish per se, and it's gonna be good to be able to prove myself and Um, everyone loves an underdog, so I've got to be able to prove that I deserve to be there. Which, yeah, I'm blessed to be there for sure. I mean, I'm not there yet, but I'm blessed to be able to have the opportunity to go. But proving to myself that I'm among the other artists that are going to be there. There's several artists that have millions of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers. Um, so compared to I'm like at like 3K or something. um, is very yeah. There's levels to it, and I think being among all that talent is gonna really um, push me to the next level.
Yeah. So, what's the actual purpose of Dubai? Why is there a bit of a launch of artists to Dubai?
So we're kind of looking to create a bit of a music culture over there because there isn't. It's almost like there isn't much of a you could say Western music culture, but even from what I've heard, there's not much. I haven't been there, so I can't say for sure. But even from what I've heard, there's not much of a music culture there anyway. And if so, it's very Eastern music. But um, yeah, I
What's
don't,
what's the difference between Western music and Eastern music?
like when you think of like
Like Western music is in like pop music
yeah,
and
pop
rock
music,
music and stuff.
yeah, like artists like Beyonce or Ed Sheeran or
So what's Eastern music then? What'd be a good example of that?
like like Chinese, Indian, like those like styles. When you think of that, you think of like the string, like the tight string mandolin kind of sound. Not mandolin, but um, I don't know. Do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Like I'll play like yeah, I kind of like music like this.
It's kind of like tune I'd fall asleep to, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's very like Middle Eastern kind of.
It's kind of mad. I rate it.
Um, yeah, so I mean, there's Eastern music all over the world. Like where anyway. But yeah, so kind of creating a bit of a music culture over there, and yeah, just really trying to bring some artists of all different genres, like R&B, pop, uh, singer songwriter kind of style, rap. Yeah, so
Mm.
yeah, it should be good.
So what's what's the expectation you uphold with yourself with going to Dubai then? Like sort of what's your ambitions and goals to heading over? Like you said, you're little fish in a big pond now against some big artists. How are you sort of planning on scaling up? I
Well,
guess.
I think it's like, I think there's, I think it's really important to be teachable and be a very teachable person, and I think that I'm just gonna try and be, I guess, as teachable as I can.
Do you mean learnable?
Yeah, sorry.
Learnable.
Adaptive to that. Um, scene, and there's like the people that are going over there know so much more and um, have a lot more wisdom in the music industry as a whole, as artists, as musicians, and so I think just gleaning that information will be the the most beneficial. And I think that's how I think that's what's going to take me to a different level as a musician, artist, performer, songwriter, all of the above. I think I really just want to be able to level up from a regional country singer artist to someone who's well known in the Australian scene. That would be awesome. And to potentially, obviously, I'm not in Australia, so it's going to be a bit different. But break into a different market, not just the Australian market as well. That'd be awesome. And I think that's what a lot of the artists that are going over there to do as well. We're looking at reaching obviously the Middle East, Asia, and Africa as well in parts that aren't really reached, and with a lot of different. There's a lot of business stuff behind it which I can't really talk about. It's a bit it's not my place to talk about that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of business ventures that are going on behind the scenes that ties into our music, and so I think that to reach those three. I mean, the Middle East isn't like a continent. But
Iraq, Iran, and
so to
stuff.
reach that Middle East and Asia and African places, which is not really reached, so that'd be awesome. But yeah, to just level up as an artist, that's my main goal.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. What about you? What do you got going on?
Um, this week, tomorrow I'm going to Cannonball,
Yep.
which is a mountain bike festival in Australia. It's probably the biggest mountain bike festival in Australia, and there's all different events from ranging all the way from like pump track to downhill, which is my main event that I enjoy doing the most. Um, and yeah, it's really just and this year it's really big. There's a lot of international riders coming, so they've really like scaled from just a few events that Threadbow has put on to like a really big international event now.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see. So there's a lot of cash prizes now. There's a lot of more
Is that
investment sponsors are sponsoring the event. It's really like just a real good setup, and it holds a bit of a special part to me as well because it was my first ever mountain bike race in 2018.
that
First ever
was
one was in
Cannonball,
Cannonball.
right? And was the did you that whip off that you did you? I don't know if you won. Did you win?
No, I got third
Third.
last year,
Was
third
that at
in the whip off.
Cannonball?
That
Yeah.
was at
Yeah.
Cannonball,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Nice. And your big crash that you had that went viral.
That was at Threadbow, but
Threadbow.
not during Cannonball.
Yeah. Right. Right.
That was at Threadbow though.
And what do you like? What do you hope happens at Cannibal? What do you like? What are your expectations? Like you asked me, what are your expectations and what are your goals, kind of for Threadbow, for Cannibal? Sorry.
Man, my I don't want to put an expectation on myself to be honest, because when you in a racing sort of thing, when you seem to put an expectation on yourself, you either seem to crumble or like break through it. And I usually crumble, like to be honest,
Hmm.
like under that pressure, internal pressure, I crumble. But when there's like an external pressure,
It's really interesting that you, because I genuinely don't even haven't really talked to you much about that, and I think it's really interesting, and it's definitely part of the blow up. Do you think that not crumbling under that pressure is what's going to take you to another level?
nah, I don't think so. And especially now as I'm in like this is my first year in elite, I think that I have the rest of my life to improve on my result and figure it out. So I'm not in a huge rush to like deal or not deal with, but be able to be like I guess handle the internal pressures which you do need to do as a racer. But I just need to learn to like more the technical ability. Like I'm not very good at piecing together a full run. Like I can ride a section just as fast as anyone, but to put together a full run and carry a speed for a whole track is where I struggle. And I feel like if I just focus on improving myself in that area and like holding speed where I need to in that thing, I think my riding will tenfold.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Not because if the more result focused I'm gonna be, being first year elite, it's a tough field. So being result focused is just gonna ruin my headspace. And I love riding, so I'd rather just improve on my personal riding and just try and like break through my own ceiling, which I believe is going to be at the top
Do you think that part of
eventually.
do you think that part of that mentality and getting to that was partly from some of the stuff that Dean said on the podcast that we did with him? Or how did you come to that?
A few people, not so much in the last podcast we did with Dean, but Dean definitely did help a lot. But Dean definitely helped a lot with how I structure like building up into writing and working on like being not consistent, but like being structured.
Yeah.
But honestly, there's a few people that have really like said things to me that are like really stuck. Like Tim Butler has, even when I was like a junior, he helped not so much with like my attitude, but like he really kept my headspace in like a good headspace for writing.
Mm.
Like it wasn't so much like, oh, make sure you drop. Well, he always tells me make sure I drop in the corner, but it wasn't so much like a technical riding coach. It was more like looking back now, is like he really just kept my head in like the right spot, like just having fun as a kid,
Yeah.
just riding and having fun. But also Jackson's old mechanic from Pink Bike, he's a really wise guy, and some of the things he said to me as well, um, like stuck with me a fair bit, and the things Jackson has also said to me has stuck with me a fair bit because he has a lot more experience than me in riding and racing. But yeah, that saying, he would always say, "Oh, you have the rest of your life to improve your result."
Mm.
That just seems to calm me down a lot
Right.
and get my head in the right spot, because as a racer, you don't want to be stressed and have all this massive internal pressures, because I mean, some people thrive under that. It's such a range, but personally, I really need to just be in a really good like mental state. I need to be stoked. I need to be happy where I am. I need to feel like I've been riding good. Like there's a lot of like stepping stones that make a good race run for me, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And them stepping stones are really important, because if you don't like do or you miss it, like you don't do the stepping stones as in that analogy, like you miss a step, you kind of fumble and like fall a little.
Mm.
Like, but it's different to like an adversary sort of thing. So like if you have a like a big crash in practice and you're sore, it can go both ways. Like I find sometimes if I crash and hurt myself, I sometimes ride almost better,
Right. Why is that?
because sometimes I'm like, well, I've had a big crash, like it's okay. Like you can sort of fall into a victim mentality of like, oh, it's okay if I don't do good because I'm in, like I'm real sore.
Yeah.
But because that expectation has been lifted off me, I'm like, well, I'll just I don't have to lose anything.
Yeah, you got nothing to lose.
So like some of my best results have come from like the worst stepping stones up to a race,
Mm. Well, and so now that you
which I find interesting actually. Come to
yeah,
say that out loud.
I also think that like you definitely seem like you're in a much different headspace to what you've been in previous races. Like I don't know, it just seems different this time. Like you're much more. There's a calmness to it. Like even though you're generally pretty calm, like you're heaps nervous before something big happens, and then there's like a calm that hits. I think this time it's just like a calm that is just all around. Like that's the vibe I'm getting. And you said, like you said before, that you're not like crumbling inside is not like that you do crumble inside sometimes. Why is that? Do you know?
Why I crumble inside?
Yeah.
Well, because I care what I do.
Yeah.
Like I care about my racing,
Mm.
and like I care about my riding, and I care about how people perceive me, and like I care about the reputation I have, and like I care about these things, and I don't like I always think like there's people that believe in me, so it's an insult to them to not try or not care. Like I feel like I have people in my life that I need to perform for because they put so much into me.
Right. And so now, what's changed? Is just all those things that people have said?
Nah, I think the biggest thing that changed is the work I've done leading up to like this off season I've had has been a bit of a doozy. And like
Why has it been a doozy?
just like with injury,
Yeah.
like my scaphoid was a bit of frustrating to heal. Then I did my I hurt my bursa in my knee as well, so I've had a few little niggles and stuff. But yeah, so the scaphoid was pretty frustrating to come back from, even though I was like, I really wasn't that level headed when I had my scaphoid injury because I was, as I said, as I've said on a few other podcasts, um, I was super like, I used to say just bashing my head against the wall in the sense that I would scroll on social media and be like, this person's riding. Frick, I can't ride. What can I do? I can go to the gym and hit legs at the gym. So I would just be there like 2, 3 times a week because I feel like I'm falling behind.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of mental battles this off season as well. Like mainly with feeling like I'm falling behind
Right.
and that sort of like really frustrated me because I haven't had the feeling of falling behind yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big thing. I've had a really big feeling about falling behind, but I also had a big like realization about trusting the process and like, sorry, I'm saying like a bit, um, trusting the process and being consistent without overworking.
Yeah.
Like instead of working in the gym and trying to get big and strong and stuff, I've worked more on my bike setup. Like I've changed so much on my bike. I feel a lot stronger on my bike. I feel a lot more confident riding now. Like I'm on some really good gear for this season's sponsors. Like I'm really happy where I'm at, which was actually a bit of a mental battle to be happy where I'm at because I want more.
Mm.
Yeah, I really do want more. Not in like a selfish way, but or I guess it is a
No,
selfish
it's
way.
not though. It's the drive. It's that inner drive within you. It's not selfish if it's natural. Like, not that's not entirely true. Like, that's not a blanket statement for everything. But in this case, it's not selfish. It's not selfish to want more out of things. Like,
Mm,
that's not a selfish thing to want to be successful.
mm.
That's not a selfish thing at all. I think it's just, and I think that coming back to what you said, it's this. You've got confidence now, like a different type of confidence, and
Well, yeah, confidence breeds success and success breeds confidence. And yeah, I just feel more confident in my riding because I haven't been so focused on the off bike training. I've been way more pinpoint and precise and open to trying so many different things on my bike, which I haven't done before. I haven't really experimented much and with like bike setup. And now I have, I feel very like confident, calm that I've put in more like smart, like graft.
yeah, so there's a bit more structure to it now,
Mm.
and it seems like the doozy of an off season with injuries has actually allowed you to have that time to be able to think about and implement that structure. So you really do think about it as a bit of a blessing, like a blessing in disguise. Like, even though that it's not a blessing that you got injured, like
Well,
that's a
the
normal.
pendulum swing.
Yeah, 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 but yeah, like I guess it's just how you look at it, kind of thing. Like,
Well, that's right. Everything's perspective, man. Like, an injury can be the worst thing, but it can be the best thing.
sure, yeah, yeah. I think it's just, yeah. Again, like, just repeating what you said, you were bashing your head against the wall, and I
Well,
guess
I was just in my own head. I just had so much head noise.
yeah,
And even before, like, I had the injury, I still had so much head noise. Like, all my training was never consistent. It was impulsive.
right. And now because now you've just got your, I feel like you're in a rhythm. You had that time to really you had that couple of week rest where you couldn't work because your scaphoid or whatever.
But
Um,
that's also put my back against the wall now financially.
yeah, for sure. I think that, um, yeah, I just think that that injury really, as bad as it sounds, was a blessing because I think you needed that time to just really reset kind of a few things, and then now after the fact, now you're in a much better rhythm. Like there's no way, like you literally we talk about it. You you don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym anymore. You get a like you have a consistent. You wake up at 5:30 now, and you can
Mm.
go to the gym and then go back home. You don't start work at like 6. Now you can start at
Yeah, I don't start work 6, an hour away from where I live.
yeah. So yeah, you start at 7 now.
But that's also been crazy. I've had 4 jobs this off season.
Yeah, yeah. There's just a lot of things that you've had to. I guess it's just a mental battle. I think this off season, and I think that that's what's gonna propel you. It's like again we've said on several podcasts, different level, different devil kind of thing. I think that getting to that next level for you has been that to overcome the mental thing, and I think that it's gonna be really interesting to see how you go, especially the next week at Cannonball.
And there's some big names coming to Cannonball. Like people who have won World Cups are going to be at Cannonball racing.
And this podcast will drop after Cannonball as well, so it'd be kind of funny to be like,
See where my headspace was after the fact. So it will be interesting.
yeah,
But yeah, I have a real sense of calmness about this coming up. But I also will be busy, like another type of busy. I've never been busy at a race before because now I'm obligated to do media
right,
because I'm independent contracting out to 2 different people for media and stuff as well. I won't I won't name names completely yet on the podcast or anything.
for the TV's on.
Yeah, but for other people.
Wait, so you're talk about that because I didn't even know.
Yeah, so I've got support from We Are Lusty
Yeah, yeah,
Industries, and they've hired a full-time filmer for me for the week. So I've got lots of media obligations to do, which I'm really excited about because I do get a good kick out of it. But it's now something that I have to do as well,
yeah,
which I also am like pretty keen to like dive into just a different. It's not different, but it's exciting to me because people want that now. Where I felt like before I'd put it out and be like, oh, I hope people find this funny. I hope people like it. I enjoyed doing it. I thought it was sick. But now it's like, oh, people, I guess, do kind of like it. And now I've had some brands approach me like, can you do this for us?
yeah.
Which is a really special thing, but it also comes with a bit of a price.
What's that?
The price,
Yeah,
it's pretty draining doing it for other people,
yeah. I was gonna say like, how are you gonna?
but it's also not because it's I feel like
No, no.
it's pretty fulfilling.
Well, the reality is like, I was
But
gonna
I have to
say
do
that.
it for two. I do it for doing it for Threadbow as well, like
Yeah,
the resort.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say, how you gonna deal with? Um, I don't know if you're getting paid or not, but well, there might be some sort of thing on their end, whether it's actual money or something else. Um, but how are you gonna deal with doing something that you love? Like we talked about it on the last the podcast with Dean, sorry, where you people don't enjoy the things they do when they start getting paid as much anymore. How are you going to deal with that? And then another question involved as well, kind of going back to that draining thing. Whatever you do, everything takes energy. Like I'm not.
But
Oh,
some things give you energy, man.
yeah, but it's not. It's not in the same. It's not the same. It's not in the same vein. Like I don't. I get a certain type of energy from doing gigs, but I also get drained from doing gigs as well. Like it's not as simple as just it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like I think that you will. It's not really a question. It's more of a statement. I think you just are gonna have to deal with how you get energy back from doing those interviews because they are going to take energy out of you. You got to learn to entertain people for a certain amount of time in a different way, and I think that that's an area that I know a lot more about because I have to entertain people for several hours at night to for gigs. It's not the same type of entertaining on video, but yeah, I think that it's really draining. I feel like
Mm.
you've kind of you've had your foot in for a bit. I think this is going to be real interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, going back to that question, yeah, how are you going to deal with doing something you love and getting paid for it?
I'm not getting paid for it.
Oh, uh,
There's not like a price tag or anything.
okay.
Um, or
I'll phrase it differently. How are you going to deal with doing that for somebody else? That is, it's going to be draining.
yeah, like look, I don't know how deep I can actually talk about it, like for the other people.
Yeah,
I'm not getting paid because of such short notice with Threadbow, and I was like, it's too big of an opportunity to not to like pass up.
yeah, yeah.
But I asked him instead if he could put my dad up in a hotel
Oh, fair.
for a few nights, and it was sorted. So I guess in that sense, I am.
Yeah,
Yeah, pulled in favor, which is sick because my dad doesn't get to watch me come race that much, like ever. So it'd be sick
that
to
would be
see
nice
him.
for him.
Hey,
That would be nice for him as well.
yeah. So it'd be sick to see him see my first elite race. But yeah, I don't know, and I can't really answer it because I haven't gone through it yet, to be honest.
That's fair enough. Fair
But
enough.
I enjoy doing froth tips. I enjoy just chatting and spinning a yarn with my friends and talking a bit of smack.
Yeah,
And like, I don't know, I like it. I really do like it. I think it's just like something I enjoy doing. I just like talking. I like seeing people have fun and laugh, and I get a big buzz out of it as well. So
yeah,
I think I'll really enjoy it, to be honest.
yeah. That's good. Yeah, I mean, eh, kind of shifting gears. Like, how do you think people look at you? You've got all this. You're about like you're blowing up. Like in that regard, how do you think people look at you becoming successful? Do you think that people spite you in that regard, or what do you think about that?
I don't know if people spite me.
Or do people look at you positively or negatively in the regard of success?
I I don't know whether it's in the regard of success or not, but because really my results aren't that successful. But I'd like to think that people don't view me negatively
Mm. What?
because I like I do try not to be negative around other people. Like I would hate to spread negativity. Like
Yeah,
I'd hate that.
yeah,
And I'm usually an outgoing, bubbly person. Like everyone has their moments, man. Like
yeah,
you understand. Like I'm frother, but I'm still a human. Like even I have my moments. It's what I guess some people don't understand. Like even I have my moments for sure, but and a lot of the time I really do enjoy being at these events. So I am just that stoked. And that portrays, man,
yeah.
like that positivity and just that like this is freaking sick. Like what I'm doing is so cool, and I think people gravitate to it.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of tall poppy syndrome. It's like this, like,
Nah.
I mean, it's kind of this thing where this analogy of there's a field of poppies growing in this field, and one poppy grows taller than all the others, and so people just will cut it down to make it the same height as all the other poppies. And I think it's a really big phenomenon, especially in Australia, where people get viewed as cringe, or everyone just hates on another person because they're building their own success. They're building into their future. They care a little bit more. And you were saying before that you care about these things. You care about um, what your results. You care about your future in writing and that kind of thing. And yeah, tall poppy syndrome. I mean, I know that I used to even think of myself. I'm like, oh, is what I'm doing cringe? Like, should I just go and drop it and go and hang out with my friends, where and go to parties or whatnot? I used to think that a lot. I've kind of got to the place only really recently where I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, I just don't. I'm gonna.
Go deeper, man. Why don't you care about? what other people will think about you.
No, it's more. I think going deeper about it is more why I used to. I think uh, I think I
Well,
used to just care. Like I don't know. I just thought everyone thought I was really um, cringe, and I might be cringe, and I might.
you definitely have some cringe
Yeah,
videos, bro.
yeah, yeah,
Saying that out of love, but
yeah,
there's some cringe videos out there.
yeah. No, I definitely like. I know I'm. Yeah, there's some things where I'm like, yeah, that's cringe, but also I don't really care anymore. Like I'm trying to. I'm just experimenting and I mean, again, like you said, everyone has their moments. Like
Mm.
there's one notorious video. I'm like, I watch it. It's on my own thing. I'm like, that's so cringe. I'm like, why did I make that? And I'm like, but yeah, I think yeah, tall poppy syndrome is just a massive thing in Australia.
I don't think I've experienced any of it, especially in the mountain bike community, man. The mountain bike community is like so good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I feel like when I've talked to you, it doesn't seem like you've had a bit of, and I think it's more. I think
I
it's
probably
more.
have, but no, I haven't. I maybe people have thought about that, but just don't have the balls to tell me,
Yeah, it's fair.
possibly. But I'm like, I have some cringy frother TVs when I was younger, man. Like, they were they were no good, and I look at them like, oh no, don't show any
But
of me.
it's not even just
But
cringe stuff.
but I
It's
laugh at it now, man.
yeah.
Like, it's like,
But tall poppy syndrome's not even cringe stuff. It's more just people get. It's almost a jealous thing of people are jealous of your success, so they want to bring you down to their level, so they don't feel bad about themselves anymore. That's kind of what tall poppy is, and it's I I think that I've got to the place like going back into it. I've got to the place recently where I just don't care anymore. Like I want to win and I want to be successful in whatever I do. And so I've just kind of come to terms with it. And I found, and how I've gotten through that. And I think it's important to talk about. You find like minded people. You don't care about what others think of you. I don't care what others think of me. I've got a few friends, like Aaron, who they don't care. Like, we don't care. And I just have found that group where I don't care anymore. And I think that
I do though. I care what other people think about me.
to a certain degree, when I say
Like, I would
I would care
hate
what my
if people,
family
yeah, I
thinks.
would hate if people just was walk past me and whisper to them, maybe, alright, that guy's a dick. Like,
Yeah.
I would hate that. Like, that's not me. I don't want that to happen.
No, no, no. I'm not saying in that regard. I'm saying, like, if I was being a tool, then and people were always saying, "Oh, you're being a tool," and especially the people that are close to me. But they'll tell me they're the people that will tell me first, so I will deal with that first. But I'm saying in regards to tall poppy syndrome, like if people are trying to bring me down just because I'm trying something, I don't care. That's what I mean.
Yeah, okay. But it's kind of sad, man. Like, it's really this tall poppy syndrome really has nothing to do with the person who's being or trying to
It's
be
a culture.
successful. It's to do with the people. It's a personal thing. Like, they must. I don't know. I can't talk for people, but it just seems like they must feel like they're unable to do that.
It's an insecurity thing, and it's a culture that's been breeded. Like Australia's, and I think the more I've intentionally thought about it being tall poppy syndrome, the more I look at it in the grand scheme of
Yeah, I've never really heard of it, to be honest, and I can't say I've experienced it firsthand because I've had people all around me build me up as well. Like, I haven't had someone ever be like, "Oh man, you're doing really good." Um, just come back like, "Oh man, you're doing better than me. Screw you."
yeah,
I haven't experienced that, hey, and I don't think I will, man. Like, to be honest, like, I might. Not to say that I won't, but it really just, I feel like I have a good bunch of blokes that I'm like mates with, and they're usually stoked. Like, I feel like they're pretty genuine, and vice versa too. Like, I'm pretty stoked if one of my mates succeeds.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I'm genuinely happy for them. I'm like, that's freaking sick, man. Like, good on ya. I can see how people can go bitter.
yeah,
Like, I guess this is an example I could use. Not like personally in my life to really go deep. Like, some people, like, I can see how you grow bitter with people with money or like kids with more opportunities than yourself. So like for example, I don't know, I don't want to name drop or
Yeah, I know what
anything.
you say. I know what you're gonna say.
But I don't like it when people pay their way to things. And I kind of can see how people grow resentful towards that.
Yeah, I think
I
that's a big thing.
I can understand that. It's not like a resent, but it's like,
You're bitter.
man,
It is that bitterness that you're
it
talking
is a bitterness. And the thing is, if you let that just launder and sit with you, it does grow into like,
about. You dealt with that. You dealt with that.
yeah, yeah, I have. I dealt with that on like a very real scenario. Like, um, yeah, I did in America.
Was it? Was it in America? I thought it was recently.
Yeah, well, both.
Yeah. Okay.
But in America is when it really became apparent to me like how bitterness can really affect you. Like I was I was really struggling to make it to the race, like not make it to the race, but I was struggling for a while there in America. And I don't know if you've, I'm sure
Everyone's heard the
everyone's
stories.
heard the story,
Yeah.
but like when I would go see someone in a hotel to charge my phone in their lobby and they wouldn't have room for me, I would grow bitter. I'd be like, oh, this person, gets the hotel, like, oh, how lucky, this and that, and it's just that sort of like internal dialogue of like bitterness that creeps in that is so bad, man.
Toxic.
Yeah, it you as soon as I know or recognize myself sort of even thinking bitterly towards another person for what they have and what I don't have, it's like, man, how selfish are you to, as me, like
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah. I
myself,
get what
how
you're saying.
selfish am I to think like that for to not want another person to have something?
Yeah.
Like that is pathetic. I thought of myself like that. I was like, after a while, I was like, that is an absolute pathetic thought and like a coward's thought
Hmm.
to be to be like wanting them to be like, oh, you don't know, like to experience what you're experiencing, like they're experiencing like different troubles, man. Like your trouble, everyone's troubles are different. Um, like going back to that example, like in the hotel, like he's probably struggled more. He's probably been smarter. He's probably played the game a bit better. It's like you just need to learn off him. You need to be stoked for him that he's there, and you need to really just learn from your scenario to not go back there. And I can nearly guarantee that if you, um, you'll learn more or appreciate more when you come from lower.
Hmm. Yeah. I know that's like one of the most mature things I've genuinely heard you say. Like we haven't even talked about that, and I think that that shift in your mindset has definitely it is really mature. Like applaud you for that. That was
Mm.
good.
But yeah, big lesson takeaway is don't let bitterness grow.
Fair.
And the thing is, the best way to conquer that is to count your blessings.
Yeah.
What it You could have nothing, but if you have your hands and your feet, you can work, you can labor. You're blessed to be able to walk.
Yeah.
You can still ride a bike, man. You're blessed just to be able to ride a bike. Or or for example, you get a free jersey from Lusty, man. Some people, I used to pay for a jersey. I'm so blessed to get this.
Yeah. That's powerful, man. That's nuts.
It's the best way to be bitter. Like you can't, if you're looking at someone and being jealous and being like, this dirty dog has this, like why don't I have that? It's like, well, hang on, I have this. Like, let me be grateful for what I have first before I even think about shitting on someone else.
Yeah, because then they will, like, they might not have something that you have, and they might be looking at you in the same light. Like, oh,
Yeah,
he
oh,
has
possibly.
he has a good family. Some people don't have good families. Like that's
Exactly, man. That's what I'm saying. You never know what people are really going through, and that's what I'm saying. For you to think and be bitter towards other people and jealous towards other people is just an absolute just coward's mentality and not understanding and just selfish. It's literally just thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
So selfish, man.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. But I can also understand how people get into it. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. It's easy to fall
and
into.
especially if you're in the mindset of I want to win. Like, if you want to,
Well, you're never present.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're trying to be super successful, and you're looking at somebody else that's doing well as well, it's easy to get into that mindset of, yeah, I want what they've got, and that's when that bitterness kind of spawns.
Mm. Yeah, it's quite a slippery slope to fall down and quite an easy slope to fall down as well.
Hmm.
Bitterness. But that can be with everything, man. Like even if you like with lost loved ones, like you can be resentful to people who haven't lost loved ones. Like some people might be able to smoke their whole entire life, live to 90, smoke cigarettes their whole life, and then someone else may smoked for 3 years, has lung cancer and dies.
Yeah.
Like is the person is the person who's friend with the person who died in 5 years going to be resentful to the person who lived to 90 and smoked? And
It just depends on the person,
well,
but
exactly. It's so easy to fall into that mentality of, well, like, well, why did my friend die? Like, why aren't you dead?
mm,
Like, you've smoked your whole life. Like, what? She smoked 5 years. She was trying to quit.
but it's not even like, even if you smoked no years, like that's still things happen.
Well, exactly. Yeah. How can someone smoke for nearly their whole entire life, live to 90, and then someone who's never smoked a cigarette in their life can also die of lung cancer?
Well,
It's unfair, man.
quite literally, like I've gone through the same thing, like literally this week. Like it's been a tough week. My nan, she was like one of the healthiest women like I know, like was very fit for her age, like would run and whatnot, and was very sporty. Never smoked, nothing. Was really like lived a healthy lifestyle. Just within a month, died of getting diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So I don't know, like I don't think that I battled with that feeling of resentment to somebody else, because I think it's just one of those things, just part of life, part of death. Unfortunate circumstances happen, but nonetheless, someone else that I know that smoked their whole life died. Like my nan's dad, my great pop, he smoked his whole life. I don't know exactly how old he was, but I think he was around 90. But he smoked like a pack a day for his whole life. Didn't die till he was 90.
Mm,
So same thing. My nan died 70 and didn't smoke nothing.
mm.
So it's one of those things. But
It is. It's quite crazy, man. And it's the thing. It's things like that. It's easy for bitterness to grow inside you and stuff. It's just a constant battle of you don't want to let bitterness rule you because then bitterness turns anger, anger turns to hatred.
yeah, and I mean, I think all loss can kind of do that, and it's about how you deal with it to not let it get bitter.
Mm,
I think just dealing with loss and dealing with grief in the right way is really important. Like you said, to not turn to anger or hatred, because their anger is one of the most powerful emotions,
mm.
and it just ruins so many things. And I think that dealing with loss is a really, yeah. I don't know how much loss you've had to deal with, but what are some kind of ways that you've dealt with loss in the past?
With loss.
Not just like with loved ones, but
Yeah, I haven't had all my grandparents still alive, and my great grandparents passed when I was really little. So in that sense, I haven't experienced like a great loss as like my nan or grandma or my gran or anything passing. I haven't experienced anything like that, like what you have recently. Um, yeah, I I haven't experienced loved ones loss.
it's, I mean, one of those things that you might have to deal with along the journey a bit more.
Mm.
What's the
I There's been a few people of like in my school that passed away from like car accidents, and that was pretty gnarly as well to see how many people it affected,
Yeah.
like on a large scale, and and to see that sort of thing is like really gnarly, and it happened really close to my house too, so
Yeah.
it was
Right.
super like hit home pretty hard. But just like the person that died wasn't doing anything wrong as a passenger.
Right.
Like it's it's sad, man, to just think that things can just go like belly up. And I feel like ever since then, if I'm not driving, I'm in a passenger seat, like in the back seat or something, I'm like, nah, don't speed. I'm stressed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just like gets me angst because it just sort of reminds me of it, like that sort of thing. Because I've like kind of I haven't like seen it, like, or been in a car and like felt it firsthand, but like it's been pretty close to home. And when I grew up in a small country town, like it hits pretty hard
Yeah.
when things like that happen, and it happened a few times.
Mm.
So yeah, haven't experienced it like a loved one as such,
Yeah.
but I've more experienced loss on like
Y-
a localized term.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the same. I'm a bit opposite. I lost one of my good mates when I was 15, I think. Yeah, 14, 15. One of my good mates from school, and like one of my songs that I wrote and released, "Now You're Gone," was about him, and he just passed away just from an asthma attack in the middle of the night. And so I've dealt with loss in that way, and then obviously my nan recently, and have had a couple of other great grandparents and that die. And but so yeah, I think that, I mean, the way I deal with loss, I think it comes back to my craft and my art, and making music is really important to me. Dealing with loss, especially with my friend who died, I think that that was a big part of how I coped with that, was to write a song and release that, record and release that. As for the recent loss that I've experienced, I think it's more, I don't really know how I've dealt with it so far because it's so fresh.
Mm.
I think that it's kind of just been a bit of a blur this week, honestly, like more just just cruising about, really. Like there's not, it's sometimes weird. I don't want to go insanely deep, but sometimes I feel like I don't really like feel things. Like, I don't know, I just kind of, it just is stagnant in my mind. My mind's just stagnant about things, and maybe that's the way that I kind of go about it initially. And then I haven't written a song about my nan yet, and it'd be uh, just because it's so fresh. But I think like we haven't even had the celebration service yet, and so I think that I don't really know how I'm gonna do with this one, but because every time's different. But I think that it's going to involve songwriting, and because I was really close to my nan, like this one's gonna hurt a lot in that regard. But I don't know. Yeah, like what I was saying before, sometimes I just feel like I don't really feel anything. Like I don't know. I think that a lot of people, like I know some of my friends that I've talked to, they understand it. They're like, oh, I just don't really feel it. I don't know why that is, but it just is what it is. It's just how I'm built. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's. I really don't know.
Mm. Yeah. Do you think you shut yourself off to not to the feelings then?
Yeah, maybe. I think I probably do. I think I just like like I'll just shut it out and I'll put it into something else, or maybe just I don't put it into something else. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's one of those things where I'm just on that journey at the moment. I can't really explain how I've gotten through it. I can explain how I've gotten through past ones, but this one is, I think, a bit deeper, almost. And so I can't explain how I've gotten through it because I haven't gotten through it yet.
Mm.
It's just like, yeah, it's just one of those things.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. It's just really fresh. So yeah, I'd be keen to talk about it at a later kind of pod and delve into it a bit deeper later.
Yeah, well, you still got to grief, man. You still got to go through all the emotions.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be like, a few weeks into her passing and just jump on a podcast and be like, "This is what I've learned.
It's
This
not
is
even
how
a
I've
few
dealt
weeks.
with it."
It's literally
A few
what?
days.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Like you've got to go through all the emotions, man. Like you
Yeah.
can't just fast track it.
Yeah, which is sometimes I think I definitely have the tendency to do. Just the way I'm built, I just try to fast track everything, kind of thing.
Mm.
So
Why?
I don't know. I think it's just I see very much. I see from A to B, and I'm just getting to A to B. Like that's just how I've always been, and I've talked about it so many times. It's just just the way I've always kind of been, and yeah, I think that it's about who I surround myself to help me not to strengthen the weak areas because like it's again it's on its perspective. That's a good thing, but it's also sometimes a bad thing because I can see exactly where I want to go, but sometimes it's that middle section there that I can't always see, and surrounding myself with people that strengthen my weaknesses is really important to me. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of lighten the mood a bit and change it up because I'm also really tired. But we should definitely talk about the future of the podcast because of
Mm.
the whole Dubai thing, and then you're going to World Cups overseas, so we're kind of turning to Zoom kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it'll still sound really the same. It will look a bit different, and when we can,
We will be filming them when we can,
yeah.
but
Also,
for the foreseeable future,
well, it just
it
depends
will be a
be-
Zoom
because it
or a
depends
Google
how long.
meeting.
It depends how long I'm over in Dubai for, and then depends.
Well, I'm coming to Dubai.
Well, depends how long I'm there for. If I'm there for
Well, yeah, it depends how
like
long you're
two
there
weeks,
for.
then it's not.
Then I won't be coming to
Yeah,
Dubai. But
but
if you're still over there for the few months, I'll be coming to Dubai.
yeah. So yeah, it just depends on all that, what the podcast kind of looks like. But we'll still be doing it, definitely. It'll sound the same. It'll just look a bit different.
Mm.
I don't know how many people actually watch the YouTube versions anyway, but it's a podcast. It's meant for listening. So
Exactly. So for the foreseeable future,
we'll still have guests on and
for the next few months, there'll be guests, but it just won't be filmed in person. It'll be filmed
over Zoom.
over Zoom or
Don't worry,
Google
I'll make it
Meeting.
look good still. I'll have use editing and make it look sick.
Yeah, man. But yeah. So when we get together, we still will, and for big guests, we'll definitely try and film.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'm happy to wrap it up there. It's about an hour. Hour of
Yeah. So that was episode 5 for Before the Blow Up.
thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Or just do what you want.
No, like and subscribe, do it. And hit the notification bell on YouTube, follow on Spotify, leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts.
Chill, bruv.
I'm putting all the
You know, if
putting it
someone
all
gets
for-
anything out of this, I'll be stoked.
Yeah, no, actually would be. Yeah, if you got anything out of it, subscribe and follow.
Cut.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.